Let us hear the speech of the son of Hamas, a good man. You see, sometimes even the devil can give good children sometime.
Good afternoon. Ambassador, thank you for having me and giving me this important podium. Such a difficult situation. I see lots of division and confusion, lots of hatred, lots of misinformation. And everybody speaks on behalf of the children and on behalf of the innocent. But I am not sure about their real intention. But today I can speak on the authority of a Palestinian child, someone who grew up in that culture. Hamas' first crime against children in the Palestinian societies is not arming them or encouraging them to carry suicide bombing attacks. It's the religious, ideological indoctrination that I had to go through. With one intention in mind: to annihilate the state of Israel. This is Hamas' primary goal. In this truth, there is no confusion.
No confusion.
I speak as first-hand witness on Hamas and their intention. My father is one of the founders of Hamas movement.
So what? So what?
I was there when Hamas was born.
You are not from them, no, no.
I was before Hamas was born.
Prove it, prove it.
And as I said before, I will be there after Hamas is dead.
Good for you.
I am not a part of propaganda. I don't work for nobody. I only represent myself. And on this authority, I speak. So don't be mistaken. And take my words very carefully. Hamas is committing a crime against this generation and the next generations to come. So blaming Israel is not going to solve the problem. Imagine a 10-year-old child. When I disobeyed Hamas, I was tied up to a post and I was whipped by Hamas top leader. And I don't want to mention his name because he's not worthy. With an electric cable. Every lash, I lost my breath. Until I lost my consciousness. My father was in prison at that time. And this leader thought that he was my mentor. This is Hamas discipline. This is how they wanted me to be. To become a violent savage like them. And the very basic intelligence of a child, when I felt that was not natural, it wasn't. But I had still to go to the mosque to please my mother and please my father and obey this type of monsters. I hate to talk about my personal struggle. And I hate to be in a position to be at defense. He also don't like to be at defense. Because this is what Hamas did to Israel on October 7th. They put all of us at defense. But this doesn't mean that we are not going to win the war. Growing up in that society, a majority of the Palestinians blamed Israel. And as a child, I took it as a Quran. I took it as a holy scripture that Israel was our problem. But then as I grew up, I start identifying the enemy within. The religious authorities, the corrupt leaderships, who basically did not care about children, they did not care about Palestinians, they still don't care about nobody but themselves. And the world has been empowering them against the prey, against the victims. This has to come to an end. Let's put my childhood on the side, because maybe a child does not see things for what they are. Maybe I was very bad. I misbehaved myself as a child to deserve to be beaten up again and again and again by Hamas leaders. And some people say, is it a personal problem? Well, it is a personal problem. Do you have any problem with me having Hamas problem as a personal problem?
Here you see how a smart person he speak. They try to frame you. You have a personal problem with Hamas, don't you? Well, isn't it personal anyway? Isn't it what they are doing is personal? When they kidnap a wife of somebody, is that personal? Is he a person? Is he a human being? Do you have a personal problem? Huh? Is that what do you have? This is why you hate Hamas, huh? So they try to frame you, you know. Like the guy who said to me, why you speak always against homosexuality? I said to him, are you a gay? He said, no, I'm not a gay. Why you are saying that? I said, you look what happened. You look, you're the one who don't like gays. They cannot refute you. They cannot answer you. They try to frame you. That's why they give us names, Islamophobic. Framing us. Islam is not scary. In the airport we have security, not because of Islam, no, because of the Hindus. Because of the Buddhists. Because of the girls who they are naked in the bars of Thailand. Those are the scary ones. Not the Muslims, no. Islam is peace. You are just Islamophobic. And there's a donkey in the chat. His name is PK. He said to me, Christian Prince, do you know what happened in the 1st century? Antioch? Abdul, we know what happened in the 1st century. The question for you, do you know what happened in the 1st century of your prophet? You don't. Even the books of hadith about your prophet written 300 years after Muhammad. So look how stupid you are. You don't have the Quran. You don't have Sahih al-Bukhari. You don't have Sahih Muslim. You have somebody saying even al-Bukhari himself was 200 years after Muhammad. And you're asking the Christian, do you know what happened in the 1st century? Yes, we know what happened in the 1st century. We have John. Do you have John? We have Peter. Do you have Peter? We have Paul. Do you have Paul? You don't have a zero witness of what your prophet said, yet you collect what your prophet says 300 years after. And what he said, the prophet, when he used to suck my tongue. What? The prophet used to suck your tongue when he is fasting? Did he suck something else? Yes, the prophet said when somebody was not happy with him, he said to him, go and bite the penis of your father. Ooh, this is the book of Muhammad. Yes, what else? What else? It sounds like porn. Abu Bakr and Umar, they said, go and suck the clitoris of Allah. All of this in your books. That's what you have about your prophet. Do you know what happened since Antioch? When we have Antioch, do you have? Even in his stupid Quran, he wrote about the Antioch. Not only that, he says the 3 messengers of Jesus, they went to the city of Antioch. And do you know who is number 3? Is the third, he is the strongest, and his name is Paul. So those Muhammadan, they do not know the religion. They do not know ours. They do not know what they want, and they are violent. And then they speak about peace, and they accuse you of everything they do. They rape, they accuse you of rape. They take your land, they accuse you took their land. This is what they are doing right now with Israel. Continue. It is a personal problem.
It is a personal problem. Do you have any problem?
Do you?
With me having Hamas problem as a personal problem?
Hit it.
It is a personal problem. And I swear I will not die before I see Hamas dead.
I mean to that.
Can I make this a goal to my life?
Yes, we can, for sure.
You know, unlike many of the leaders who sit here and give Hamas legitimacy by not condemning them, if the entire world stand there and say otherwise, the child witness within will always be there. And nobody can deceive that child anymore. Then, as I grew up, I become the Hamas or the Islamic student movement president in our town. And I became part of the movement. It's just out of the love for my father and our family. I had no other choice, which somehow led me to imprisonment.
It led him to imprisonment. Please, admins, don't block the Muslims who they are saying whatever they are saying. As long as they don't use bad language, don't block their text. I mean, let us laugh at them. Look at the Abdul. He tried to change the topic. Hey, Christians, how many Bible you have? How many books you have, Christians? Yes, we should ask you the same question, you donkey. Because how come the Quran mentioned 124,000 prophets, yet you have only one book? The donkeys of Muhammad, they keep talking about books and Bibles. But their stupid God, he sent 124,000 idiots. And according to the Muhammadan, only one idiot, his book is preserved. So imagine Allah. He have a big library, 124,000 books. But because he is a good librarian, he was able only to keep one. And then we check, we find that that book is not exist. What they have today have nothing to do with the Quran of Muhammad. And when we check the hadith, we find that the goat ate the Quran. Like if we ask this potato, can you recite for me the verse of a breastfeeding for adult, which I love very much. In fact, I was going to convert to Islam if you can find it. Breastfeeding for adult, you idiot. You have a God. His name is Allah. He gave a messenger. His name is Muhammad. That listen, tell the Muslims that if somebody want to visit somebody, let his wife give her boobs. And now you Muslims, you go around in YouTube and other places and you ask Muslim women to give their breast to suck it. Prophet Muhammad hijab said, okay, can I suck your wife tit or to make her haram? Yeah, you have many Bible. How many Bible you have? Potato. Abdul, you cannot play with me. I have all your laundry. You try to make fun of us. You try to make fun of our book. All this is over. We are going to whip the face of your prophet with our ass. And after that, I have to clean my ass. Because you know all the boogers. The only prophet who take boogers from his nose and he put it in his pocket is Muhammad. The only one he spit at his sleeves is Muhammad. Have you ever heard somebody spit at his sleeves? Have you? The only one who takes shower with dead dogs and women blood from period and garbage is Muhammad. Am I lying? And this is your best man. And now you Muslim, you camp your hair, and the women, she wear hijab and 10 kilograms of makeup, you know, and they use gas instead of perfume. And then you, what is this? This is what Muslims used to do. Aren't you following the steps of Muhammad? White clothes, go and see how Muhammad was. A man, he take a shower literally, in even the sewage is a cleaner. Am I lying? I will open soon my Skype. You can call me and get me busted. Anything I say, huh? Get me busted. Potato. Hey, brother. Musab, continue. Sorry for disturbing, man.
Otherwise, the child witness within will always be there, and nobody can deceive that child anymore. Then, as I grew up, I become the Hamas or the Islamic student movement president in our town, and I became part of the movement. It's just out of the love for my father and our family. I had no other choice, which somehow led me to imprisonment at the age of 18, just a few weeks after my 18th birthday. May 28, 1996. My problem was not Israel who arrested me during that experience. It was Hamas again, but this time with a lot more brutality, a lot more pain than the pain I experienced on a personal level. In prison, Hamas tortured and killed hundreds of Palestinian prisoners, Hamas members, because Hamas had suspicion that they were collaborating with the State of Israel. I spent 16 months in that first arrest among Hamas leaders. What was called Al-Majd, Hamas security wing, for those who don't know, this division of Hamas. This security wing, they brutally tortured people, putting needles under their fingernails, burning plastic on their bodies, putting off cigarettes in their skin. The screams of hundreds of prisoners over that period of time, how could I forget? And I don't wish for any of you to go through such experience, to realize what type of monster we are dealing with. It's unfortunate that my father helped establish such an organization. And I don't mean to dishonor him. I love my father and I will always do. I'm not here to dishonor my people. I love my people. But I cannot believe how far Hamas was able to travel in this madness. And we could not stop them. After I was released from prison, I made very hard choices. And I don't have the time to go through all my motives. But yes, I had many motives. Many motives to fight against Hamas, and I still do. And nobody can get in my way. Not even the United Nations. So the choices I made were against any rational mind. I ended up working together with the Israeli intelligence for 10 years. We had a common goal. That goal was to stop suicide bombing attacks. Hamas, for those who don't know, or those who have short memory, carried many suicide bombing attacks during the 90s and the early 2000s. Dozens of suicide bombing attacks where a suicide bomber took an explosive built went to inside a bus and blew himself up, killing all type of people. Not only Israelis. Americans were killed. Europeans were killed. Other nationalities, including Israeli Arabs, including Muslims. Hamas did not differentiate. Take Hotel Park, for example. On a holiday, on the most sacred Jewish holiday, a suicide bomber go into the dinner, blow himself up, kill more than 30 people. Some Holocaust survivors died in that attack. Dolphinarium, some teenagers having fun at the beach. Hamas suicide bomber killed about 18 and wounded dozens. Look up, see how many buses. It did not stop there. Hamas attacked the Hebrew University. 6 Americans were killed in that attack. They targeted synagogues. They invite violence. They love violence. Hamas, without chaos, cannot survive. It's their climate. This is where they thrive. When the peace process came, if you follow the history of Hamas and their development or their evolution, whatever you want to call it, Hamas, what sabotaged the peace process through suicide bombing attacks. And they don't have a vision. That's the problem. Because nobody can satisfy their ambition when they are waging a holy war. We're not talking about IRA. We're not talking about other political terrorist organizations that we can pressure them, bend them, bring them to the negotiating table. We are talking about a religious group that does not believe in political borders, that wants to annihilate an entire race in order to build an Islamic state. I don't know what else can be said about this group. And I don't know why it's not obvious to everybody that the United Nations fail to condemn them. Bunch of rapists. This is what they are. Lower than animal consciousness.
Bunch of rapists. Bunch of rapists. Lower than animals. That's what Muhammad did. That's what Abu Bakr did. That's what Umar did. That all those called caliphate and the Muslim leader did. This is the religion of rape, killing, hatred. They even rape each other. They even kill each other. They even kidnap each other. They even steal the money of each other. They even killed the family of Muhammad. They even raped the family of Muhammad. In fact, Muhammad himself was raped by his cousin. When his cousin came back to see him, he said to him, Amma ibn ammi faqad hataka ardi. And regarding my cousin, the one who did rape me. Am I lying, Muslims? I will open Skype soon. And I want to see the brave of you who dare to call. Potatoes, sons of potatoes. You have no shape. You are round when it's going to be round. You change your shape like a potato. You go after people when they are asleep in their bed, and you kill them and you rape them. And then you want to exchange prisoners. And then the Muslim, they make videos, exchange of hostages. When the Israeli, they never took a hostages from you, you coward. They took a criminals. They say children, the children have beard. And they stab Israeli. Those Israeli women and children, they did that to you. Nothing. You kill them. You attack them. Then they attack you back. You hide behind babies. Then the baby is shot, and then you take a picture and you post it online. Look what they are doing to us. Christian Prince. The Israeli army is invading. And they are thinking, just shut up, you son of Muta. The religion who flipped everything upside down. The black is white and the white is black. Coward liars. And now they are taking advantage of those hippie Americans who have no idea what's going on. They don't even know the name of the president. They don't know even how many states in USA. They have zero knowledge of mathematics, zero knowledge of geography. They have zero knowledge about anything. And then the second you talk to them, they know everything in the world. Democracy now. They want democracy now. But by the way, we don't want the Bible, but we live in democracy. We don't want children to say the word God, but we believe in democracy. And our democracy is, if you wear an American flag in school, we kick you out. But if you wear Palestinian flag, you are a hero. Democracy now. A bunch of idiots. Give me the White House. Just give it to me for a month or two. And I will teach you what democracy is. You made the White House a joke house.
So, I don't speak only on the authority of that child and someone who grew up in the Palestinian territory. I also speak on the authority of someone who has 10 years of experience in a counter-terrorism of the Israeli intelligence. It took us 8 years to capture someone by name Ibrahim Hamid. This mass murderer. 8 years he hid in a small town of Ramallah, less than 20,000 people. It took us 8 years to capture him. While he was sending suicide bombers every other day, it was a big nightmare to capture him. And you know now what they are doing? Why the hostage situation that we have in Gaza? They want him. He's on the top of the list to be released. Ibrahim Hamid, remember his name? Look him up. They want mass murderers to go back to the street. And if you ask yourself, the guy that you saw earlier, Yahya Sinwar, with the child and the rifle, this guy was released just recently. Part of the prisoner exchange with Israel. When Israel had to release more than 1,000 Hamas members to return one Israeli soldier back to his mother. And Hamas had a taste to that. So they thought this time they can go and bring 200 hostages and more. So they can bring the only true democracy in the Middle East to its knees. This is why it's a very brutal war. For those who are in the intelligence communities, they understand the significance of this. And they know that Israel cannot release more Hamas terrorists. Because this guy, you saw, Yahya Sinwar, he is the mastermind behind the attacks on October 7th. And how can Israel afford, or how can any of you validate or prove the release of mass murderers back to the street so they can carry a lot more terrorist attacks and hijack an entire society, use hundreds of thousands of people as human shields. Is this our way of solving the problem? We need the correct vision. First of all, we need to identify the origins of suffering.
Islam.
Where it's coming from.
It is
Where
Islam.
does it originate from? We need to identify the disease.
The disease.
Then we can provide the cure.
It is Islam.
Up to this point, we haven't identified the disease. And for those who know the problem, they don't have the courage to stand and say, we have a problem with Hamas. But most of us have our own calculations, from Russia to China to the rest of the superpowers, given Hamas cover. Hamas gave the attacks on October 7th as a birthday gift to Putin. For those who did not make the connection, and I don't want to go farther. Now nobody's talking about Ukraine, using Hamas as the wild card in the Middle East, igniting a religious war to just divert your attention somewhere else. All those criminals, whether they were high profile or low profile, they are all savages. They are all enemies of children and enemies of humanity. The United Nations and the rest of the international community have empowered con men who used what's so-called Palestinian cause to become richer. They were seeking power and wealth. They did not care about the Palestinian people. As the children of Gaza sink in despair and poverty, leaders of Hamas, along with their families and their entourage, enjoy the Four Seasons Hotel in Doha, Qatar. We can continue putting our head in the sand, but then we have escaped our responsibility. I can go on and on for hours, or should I say for 46 years of my life. But I don't have the time. I don't have the time. If we don't eradicate Hamas this war and this time, if we don't eradicate them, the next Gaza war is going to be deadlier. It's going to be much greater. If today we are complaining about 10,000 casualties, even though I'm not sure about the numbers because it's Hamas statistics, I don't trust anything they say or anything they do. But even if it was true, it's actually a miracle that we have only this number. The next war, we will be talking about hundreds of thousands. This is the fourth war with Hamas and the fifth war in Gaza, because also Islamic Jihad had their own war. If we don't eradicate Hamas and other terrorist groups in Gaza this time and give Gaza back to the people of Gaza, we will give them legitimacy. We will show them that we are afraid. And tomorrow, they will come back with vengeance. What made Hamas attack this time a lot stronger than the past wars? Because under the international pressure, we had to negotiate with them. And we had to give them legitimacy. This is what encouraged them and gave them power. You know, Qatar, for example, it's a member of the United Nations. playing the mediator, etc.
Head of the snake.
They could have fooled me. They are the ones hosting Hamas.
Exactly.
They are the ones who have been funding Hamas.
Exactly.
Russia, Musa Abu Marzouk,
The filthy
a
Putin.
Hamas top leader, was in Moscow just yesterday. Okay, to be more accurate, a week ago. What's this? Where democracies should be united in fighting such savages. All of us saw Hamas. You call a hostage situation, but you want the true term Hamas uses for this?
Booty.
Booty. It's not even hostages.
That's what Muhammad
It's not
said.
war prisoners. All of us saw Hamas, savage, grab a teenager girl from the neck, pushing her into the unknown. That's your very freedom. That girl represents your freedom. And none of us thought about the mother of that kid and how she felt about seeing her daughter being dragged that way by a savage who wants to dominate, who sees women as a property. This is how Hamas sees women, a property, something they can own. As they want to own territory, more territory, their lust, their sexual lust, their lust for power, their lust for territory. I had to die many times in order to transcend this mentality. So we are talking about a big problem. It's beyond Israel. And here is the danger. And with this, I will conclude. The danger if Israel fail their war in Gaza, which is a brutal war, because if it was open war, Israel would annihilate Hamas in no time, matter of hours, let's say days. Hamas is finished. But since Hamas strategy, it's a strategic thing of Hamas to take human shields. This crime cannot be forgiven. None of us should forgive this crime. Gambling with children's blood for political gain, it doesn't get worse than this. So Israel now got stained by blood. This is what Hamas wanted to happen from day one. They wanted to sacrifice thousands of children so Israel can take the blame. Digging tunnels and bunkers under hospitals, schools, launching missiles. A Hamas misfire, how many people killed at a hospital, and they went so fast to blame Israel, and the rest of the world listened to them and listened to their propaganda. Nobody is concerned to check what is true and what is false. Whatever that serve our political and short-term interest, we go for it. Suicidal, not knowing that we are going against evolution. We are going against the collective consciousness of humanity. We're going against the interest of children, the defenseless children who has no one to speak on their behalf. They don't have the power to discern. And yes, they are dying. But who's causing all this death? Blame is the cheap way. It's the way of the coward. Those who have the courage, take responsibility.
Hit it.
They don't blame.
Coward people.
If Hamas is not defeated, if Hamas is not eradicated in Gaza, we will set the model. We will give the freedom to so many radical groups around the world, especially in Europe. Because many of ISIS have fled to Europe under civilian cover. They are sleeping cells in Europe. And there is a migrant problem in Europe. And there is an Islamic problem in Europe. And this is just a warning. If you really care for the global security, and I speak as a person who was part of the counter-terrorism effort against radical Islamists, if Hamas is not defeated in Gaza, it will inspire many groups around the globe. They will see that few thousands of savages can blackmail the international community, the superpowers, and bring democracies to their knees.
Exactly.
Many of them are watching now, and many of them are very happy about how the world is responding. And many of them are satisfied to see the state of confusion and fear and anxiety. This is the time to get united. Because if Israel fails in Gaza, all of us, we will be next. Thank you for listening, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. May God bless all of us and protect our children, not only the Palestinian children, but also the Israeli children. Bring the hostages back to their families. And may God bring peace to this divided world. Thank you very much for listening.
All right. You know, everything he said, I cannot say anything against it. You know, I mean, he just said the truth. The world is a hypocrite. Everybody's speaking about the children. But in fact, even those children, by the way, tomorrow they will be terrorists. As long as Hamas is in control, they control the school, they control the high school, they control everything. So the child you are talking about too today, tomorrow is going to kill you in Europe, will kill you in America. Look, this is Abdul, he just posted this. Just to give you an example, and I assure you this Abdul, he lives in the West or in America. He said this. Just to give you an example. All of you will pay jizya. In case you do not know what jizya is, you pay money like a dog, and the Muslim occupy your land, and they will treat you not even as a citizen, second hand, third hand, no, like a slave. And your women belong to the Muslim. Did I say that? This is the text was just posted just 2 minutes ago. If you go back in the chat, you will see it. I took a screenshot of it. The Muslim, they are not shy to say what they want. They say it to you every day. There's a million videos in YouTube. And still those white people in the West, they are so stupid to the point. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Like, Abdul, listen, but Palestine, those Hamas, they want to kill everybody. I don't care, don't you see the baby? There's a baby was die. Okay, how come you don't see the Israeli baby? No, this is not the Israeli, it's not a baby. The Muslim is a baby. Did you see the baby? So the terrorists, they knew that in your nation there's a lot of fools, and those are called liberals. Hippie. You know,